Swords are an integral part of Japanese culture. Apart from sushi, beautiful temples, and neon-lit cities, what else would you think of when Japan is mentioned? It is probably ninjas and samurais. While Japan has much more interesting things to offer than those mentioned earlier, you would agree that ninjas and samurai are pretty cool, and the most noticeable feature among them is their swords. A samurai and his swords are a dual package. Samurai, and especially their swords, are a fundamental part of Japan's rich history and have continued to have a huge cultural impact on Japanese values and the nation's image to this day. However, one would be surprised to find out that these iconic weapons hold secrets that are beyond human comprehension. Join us as we delve into the mystery behind ancient Japanese swords, uncovering secrets that leave many astounded. Samurai swords, also known as katana, are considered the best swords on earth. These swords are so sharp that they are said to have been able to slice right through the bones of a samurai's unlucky enemy. This implies that samurai swordsmiths were some of the best swordsmiths on earth. Unlike in ancient times, the era of forging katana has slowly been dying for the last 200 years or so. And today, only licensed craftsmen can forge them. Because of this, notable katanas are often passed down through family generations. Some are even kept in museums, temples, and emperors' homes, depending on their history. Let us take a look at some of these prominent katanas, uncovering secrets that have kept them significant over the years. When talking about ancient swords of notable significance to the Japanese culture, Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi tops the list. Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi is a legendary Japanese sword and one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan. It was originally called Ame no Murikomu no Tsurugi, meaning heavenly swords of gathering clouds, but its name was later changed to the popular Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, which means grass-cutting swords. Legends have it that the sword represents the virtue of valor. The existence and location of this secret ancient weapon remain unknown to the general public. What is known is that the sword has been passed on for generations for preservation and safeguarding. So, you might be curious about what makes this ancient artifact so special. Well, the secret lies in its origin. When we dig deep into the origin of certain ancient treasures, we might be astounded by what we would find. The history of the Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi extends into legend. According to Kojiki, a record of ancient matters, the god Susanoo encountered a grieving family of Kinitsukami, headed by Ashinazuki, in Izumo province. When Susanoo inquired of Ashinazuki, he told them that his family was being ravaged by fearsome Yamata no Rorichi, an 8-headed serpent of Koshi, who had consumed 7 of the 8 daughters the family had and was still coming for the last daughter. Susanoo investigated the creature, and after a failed attempt to apprehend the creature, he came up with a plan to defeat it. Well, he did not commit to the favor for free. He asked for the last daughter's hand in marriage, to which the family agreed. He temporarily transformed her into a comb in order to protect her, and also to have her accompany him during the battle. Afterward, he detailed his plans in steps. To perfectly execute his plans, he set up a trap to capture the creature. He instructed that 8 vats of rice wine be prepared, and put on individual platforms positioned behind a fence with 8 gates to capture each of the monster's heads. Luckily for him, the monster took the bait and put one of its heads through each gate. With the creature being distracted by the struggle to break free, Susanoo attacked and slew the beast with his sword. He chopped off each head and then proceeded to the tails. Surprisingly, he discovered a great sword inside the serpent's 4th tail and called it Ame no Murikomu no Tsurugi. Meanwhile, due to a dispute with his sister, Amaterasu, a goddess, Susanoo was banished from the heavens onto the earth. He then presented this sword as evidence of his good deed to the goddess to settle the old grievance. His good deeds were considered, and he was accepted back into the heavens as a god. Generations later, during the reign of the 12th emperor, the Ame no Murikomu no Tsurugi was given to a great warrior named Yamato Takuru as part of a pair of gifts by his aunt, the shrine maiden of Ise Shrine. She gave the gift to protect her nephew in times of peril. These gifts came in handy during a hunting expedition when a treacherous warlord lured Yamato Takeru onto an open grassland. The lord let fiery arrows loose to ignite the grass and trap the great warrior in the field, so he would burn to death. He also killed the warrior's horse to prevent his escape. Desperately, Yamato Takeru used the Ame no Murikomu no Tsurugi to cut back the grass and remove fuel from the fire, but in doing so, he discovered that the sword enabled him to control the wind and caused it to move in the direction of his swing. Taking advantage of this newly discovered magic from the sword, the warrior used his other gift, fire strikers, to enlarge the fire in the direction of the treacherous lord and his men. He used the winds controlled by the sword to sweep the blaze toward them. In triumph, Yamato Takeru renamed the sword Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi to commemorate his narrow death escape and victory. Eventually, Yamato Takeru got married, but he sadly fell in battle after ignoring his wife's advice to take the sword with him. Japan is well known globally for having the world's most famous sword, the katana. However, there is one katana blade that is shrouded in mystery with terrifying legends surrounding its name, the Muramasa Katana. This gruesome weapon was crafted by a man named Sengo Muramasa. For a man to create a weapon so deadly that it has taken the lives of so many and has been labeled demonic, there definitely has to be a story to the man's life. It is said that Muramasa lived through a series of misfortunes that led to him living a bizarre life. He would be arrogant, angry, and jealous of everything around him, and had purely evil ambitions. Because of this attitude, everyone shunned him, further fuming his negativity and aggressiveness. Like many renowned Japanese ghost stories, he quickly became bloodthirsty and sought vengeance for the life that did him wrong. Muramasa visited fields where big battles occurred and gathered all sorts of metal and remains of swords. He would go to dark and empty locations, often surrounded by sad backgrounds, like ghosts or suicides. There, he would start creating the legendary Muramasa Katana, imbued with his demonic spirit. He constructed the blade for days, months, and years until it was finally made. Legend has it that the Muramasa has the sharpest blade of all the other katana. Its beauty struck everyone who desired the sword for themselves. This led to its quick recognition and dispersion throughout the whole of the army. However, stories of users losing their minds quickly overturned the sword's success in battle. It is said that whoever wields the Muramasa Katana becomes bloodthirsty. Samurai users of this sword eagerly await the next battle or just a reason to kill someone before wielding it. The Muramasa was thirsty for blood at all times. Sometimes it would be satisfied with a normal life, but at times, it sought after the life of a higher noble. If it remains unsheathed for a long time, it could sway the user's mind to unthinkable things without even remembering them. That is one bad demonic sword. No matter what the case may be, once the Muramasa was unsheathed, it needed to be satisfied with the taste of blood. What this means is that if the samurai wielding it could not kill someone, they would end up killing themselves to satisfy this demonic sword. Just as you must have been wondering, this demonic sword is known to crave blood from its wielder every time it was unsheathed. So why did people still wield it? The answer to this lies in a mysterious charm embedded in the sword. Apparently, the Muramasa had a mysterious charm and energy that drew people to it. Its beauty struck even those who were against war and the use of Japanese weaponry. It was recorded that the Muramasa had a very sharp edge, such that when looked at closely, one might notice that it has two eyes on the sides at the blade's end. This charm would entice people to obtain the sword. There are many legendary swords, but the Muramasa is one of the most popular and has a reputation for being malevolent and demonic. All remarkable ancient Japanese swords are known to have their own story to tell. The Tenka-Goken, also known as the 5 swords under heaven, are said to be the creme de la creme of samurai swords, the 5 greatest katanas ever made. 3 are national treasures, 1 is a holy relic of Nichiren Buddhism, and the last is an imperial property. While the term Tenka-Goken is common knowledge among swordsmiths, it is said that the term did not officially appear on record until the Meiji era from 1868 to 1912. The naming of the 5 swords that make up the Tenka-Goken is such that the sword's name comes first, followed by the last name of the swordsmith who forged them. The first of the 5 swords that make up the Tenka-Goken is the Dojegiri Yatsutsuna. This 80-centimeter long sword is a national treasure of Japan, made by Ohara Yatsusuna in the Heian period from 794 to 1185. It is said that Yatsutsuna forged the sword so that it would be sharp enough to slay a demon named Shutendoji that was rampaging around Kyoto at the time. Therefore, with orders from the emperor, a samurai named Minamoto no Yorimitsu slew the demon with the sword, prompting it to be named Dojegiri Yatsusuna. The sword was made from ground iron that was forged to show strong graining, warpage, and almost no irregularities. This sword is currently on display at the Tokyo National Museum. This second historical masterpiece was forged by Sanjo Muneshika, also in the Heian period, and is another Japanese national treasure. The sword is 80 centimeters long and is said to be the most beautiful of the 5, due to its crescent shape. Its name, Minazuki, means crescent moon in Japanese, and the blade is said to reflect the shape of many small crescent moons. Sanjo Muneshika was a famous swordsmith and the head of the Sanjo school of swordsmiths. This particular piece is owned by the imperial family. Interestingly, the 78.2 centimeters sword was forged by a blacksmith named Awataguchi Kunitsuna during the Kamakura period from 1185 to 1333. Kunitsuna invented a method of forging katanas known as shoshuden. The Onimaru belonged to Hojo Tokiyori, the regent of the Kamakura shogunate. It got its name because one day it mysteriously moved by itself, falling off the sword stand. And in the process, the image of a demon was engraved into the leg of the sword stand. This demon engraving looked exactly like the one tormenting Tokiyori in his dreams. Because this ancient artifact is owned by the imperial family, the sword is rarely seen in public. This national treasure is the shortest and widest of the bunch at 66 centimeters. It was created by Mike Denta Mitsuyo, founder of the Mike School of Sword Making in the Heian period. The sword is said to have spiritual powers as it once saved a princess in the Azuki Momoyama period, between 1574 and 1600. The legend goes that Princess Koime, daughter of Commander Toshii Maeda, was suffering from a serious illness until Maeda prayed for her with the sword by her side, and she was cured immediately. Today, the sword is owned by the Maeda Ikudo Kukai, a corporation made by the descendant of Toshii Maeda. The last is the Juzumaru Sunetsugu, also created in the Heian period by Eo Sunetsuga, and is the longest of the bunch, measuring 82.1 centimeters. Unlike the other swords that were owned by warlords and actually saw battle or were used elsewhere, this particular sword is deeply connected to Nichiren Buddhism, a Japanese branch of Mahayana Buddhism, founded by Nichiren. The sword was a demonstrative sword used by Nichiren to cut down evil, and it is stored at the Honkoji Temple in Hyogo Prefecture instead of a museum, and is considered a relic of Nichiren Buddhism. Swords are an integral part of Japanese history and culture. Each piece has a unique story to tell. What part of the video did you find most interesting? The secret Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, the terrifying Muramasa Katana, or the sacred Tenka-Goken? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.